Hello students, welcome back for lesson 16. We are going to know the slope is the steepness of a line. We're going to know the slope is a ratio of change in y values over a change in x values. We're going to have a formula to find slope from 2 points. Know that the point slope formula, 2-point slope formula thing is really a big deal, and slopes are equal because of similar triangles. So we're going to take a look at that. Let's start with our slope equation. And like I said, this is a really big thing, so pay close attention to what's going on here. So first of all, slope is the ratio of change in y values and the change in x values, right? So how do you find change in something? Well, that's finding the difference between two things, and that is subtraction. So here we've got 2 points. We've got point B and point A. Point A is 3, 2, so we start at 0, we go over 3, and we go up 2. Point B is 1, 1, so we go over 1 and up 1. Okay? And those are our 2 points. Now we are going to subtract these 2 points to find the slope. We know the slope from lesson 15 if you go up 1 and over 2. So the slope here is 1 over 2. So let's check to make sure that's right. It doesn't really matter which way you subtract, as long as you subtract in the same order and follow the rules of subtraction, you will always get the same answer. But we're going to start by saying point A is our first point, x1, y1. And point B is our second point, x2, y2. Right? All points go x and y. You start at 0, you go over and then up to get to your point. So we're just going to take the point y2 minus y1. So y2 is 2 and y1 is 1. So y2 is the B point, so it's 1. And y1 is the A point, is 2. So we're going to say 1 minus 2. And then we're going to subtract the x point, so x minus x, 1 minus 3. 1 minus 2 is negative 1. 1 minus 3 is negative 2. A negative 1 over a negative 2 is 1/2. So our slope for line BA is 1/2. Now, I did that actually the hard way on purpose to show that you get the same answer. If I subtract the other way, if I say y minus y, so if I say 2 minus 1, and then I say 3 minus 1, the x is 3 minus 1. 2 minus 1 is 1, 3 minus 1 is 2, so I get a slope of 1 over 2. It's the same thing, but you really have to be careful of your rules of subtraction. If I do it backwards, I may have 2 negatives. If I do it the other way, I may have 2 positives. So be careful on that. Follow your rules of subtraction to make sure you do it correctly. Okay? So that's the slope formula. I'm just subtracting the values from the points. So does slope change? Let's take a look over here. So on the left, we've got from this point to this point, we go up 2 and over 1. So the slope here is 2 over 1. This triangle is exactly the same. So the slope here is again up 2 and over 1. And this one, again, is exactly the same. We go up 2 and over 1. And this is important because each of these individual parts of the line have the same slope. So if I skip from this point all the way up to this point, I would build a triangle like this. So I would go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and go over 1, 2, 3. So the slope of the big triangle is 6 over 3. Now that looks different than our original slopes because each of these was 2 over 1. But if I reduce this by dividing by 3 over 3, then I get 2 over 1. So if I skip points, then I get the same slope, but I just need to reduce the slope to get here. Okay? And while this is getting messy, here I've just taken these two triangles here and put them together. And you see these are similar triangles, right? This has a slope of m equals 2 over 1, and this one has a slope of 1, 2, 3, 4 over 2, and this reduces to 2 over 1. And these are what we call similar triangles. This little triangle is similar to this big triangle because, well, this angle on the triangle is exactly the same because it's used by both triangles. And this angle is, they're both right angles, 90 degrees, because they're parallel to the x-axis and parallel to the y-axis, and they cross at 90 degrees. So these two triangles share two angles, and all triangles, we have a rule, all triangles, all three angles add up to 180. So let's say this angle is 60, and it's used by both triangles, and both of these angles are 90 because they're right angles. So the third angle would be 180 minus 90 and then minus 60, which is 30. So if this triangle has a total of 180 degrees in all three angles, then this one must be 30. But the big triangle also starts at 180 degrees, also has a 60 and a 90. So this last angle has to be 30 as well. So these two triangles have the exact same angles for all three angles, which means they're similar triangles, which means the only difference between these two triangles is the length of the sides. The angles and the steepness of the hypotenuse, this line here, is exactly the same. So the slope on a line is exactly the same between any 2 points on the line. These 2 points here and here have the same slope as if you skipped the 2 points and got the same line. So basically we're saying slope of a line does not change. And we can check this by looking at this. So if I take a look at this line, I have points A, B, C, and D on there. Well, A is 2 over 1. A is 2, 1. And B is 5, 3. C is 8, 5. And D is 11, 7. So I can pick any 2 points on this line and use the slope formula to find the slope. So I'm going to pick AB, and I'm going to say A is 2, 1, and B is 5, 3. So I'm just going to start and say Y1, Y2 minus Y1, so 3 minus 1, and X2 minus X1 is 5 minus 2. So the slope from A to B is 2 over 3. Now I can pick any other 2 points on this line and I should get the same slope. So I'm going to try C and D. So this is X1, Y1, X2, Y2. So I'm going to subtract 7 minus 5. 7 minus 5. And I'm going to subtract 11 minus 8. And 7 minus 5 is 2. And 11 minus 8 is 3. So we have the same slope between two different points on the line. And I could take any of these points and subtract from any other. So I could do C minus A, and I should get the same slope. I may have to reduce because I'm skipping a point, but I will still get the same slope, no matter what 2 points that I compare. All right? The slope of a horizontal line still works. Remember we said it was 0, right? So let's try. If this is x1, y1, and this is x2, y2, then I'm going to say 3 minus 3 over 5 minus 1, and that 3 minus 3 is 0, and 5 minus 1 is 4. So we have a slope of 0. All right. So reflection, note time. The slope is the ratio of the difference between the y values and the x values of 2 points. That means you find the 2 points and you subtract the 2 y values and you subtract the 2 x values, and that gives you the slope. Homework, lesson 16. There are 4 sections here. Do 2 problems from 1 through 7 and do 8, 9, and 10. And if you have more time, go ahead and do more if you think you need to. That is all for lesson 16.